Representative Ward,
Speaker, I rise in opposition.
please proceed in your opposition.
And Speaker, this bill is so bad, I beg your indulgence to say a few words. It's
Please
so
proceed.
bad.
Go ahead. Please
It's a
proceed.
witch hunt. It's
Please
so
proceed.
bad, it makes no sense. It's the companion of the Get Pro Eboshi bill that we have. This is the Senate's version of that. It basically puts a blacklist out on anybody who's received a political appointee. It puts a stigma on and a reporting to the political body if you're a political appointee. It's basically anti-American, McCarthyistic, promotes dumbing down of our civil service to make sure we got a watch on who these guys were who took political appointees. And it makes a mockery of really the civil service system, because a lot of people come out of it, they go into it, and they're going to be marked individuals. I think that's a very divisive for a place that calls itself the Aloha State. If we put this sign and signal into government, which heretofore, for all the generations of all the governments in statehood, we've never needed for, and now have this is bad public policy, Speaker. Sorry I took up your time, but it's so bad it needs to be spoken on first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and all the readings that ever will be lasting. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Ward. Any further discussion? Representative Evans.
Mr. Speaker, can the previous speaker yield to a question? Or can I
With
ask a
pleasure.
question? Thank you. When I read the bill in the Standing Committee report, I don't see how you got to where it applies to elected officials. How did you come
Because
to that conclusion?
It says the political appointees have to report to the elected officials. That is us, the legislature. We want to keep a count and a list of everybody who's been appointed to the government, so we know who they are, where they are, and if there's a probationary period, which, as I said in the sister bill, was the Pearl Eboshi bill, we want to make sure they don't get back into civil service until, at least in the bill the House has, for 1 year, or for whatever the other gymnastics we are forcing them to go through.
Okay. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you for that question.
Any further discussion? Representative Maramoto.
Please register a no vote for me, please.
A no vote for Representative Maramoto. Representative Thielen.
A no vote, please.
A no vote for Representative Thielen. Representative Finnegan.
No vote.
A no vote for Representative Finnegan. Representative Pine.
No vote, please.
A no vote for Representative Pine. Any further
Speaker.
discussion? Representative Rhodes.
In support, I just want to say
Please
that
proceed.
I don't see how this bill rises to the level of McCarthyism. That seems like kind of overheated rhetoric to me. I do think there's a legitimate question about not just in this administration, but in any administration that takes political appointees and tries to what is commonly referred to as burrowing. And this is an anti-burrowing bill, so we'll see how it turns out. It goes on to another committee after this. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Representative Suki.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, with strong reservations, I believe this bill sets a precedent that we don't need. Thank you.
Members, any further discussion? Representative McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just note my reservations.
Please
and
proceed.
may I have the words of the previous speaker to enter the record as if they were my own?
So ordered.
Thank you.
Representative Pine.
Just want to explain why no vote. Basically what this bill does, it requires every state agency to report to the legislature all non-civil service temporary employees employed by the agency for each quarterly period of the fiscal year, not later than the 15th day of the following end of each quarterly period. On that particular point, Mr. Speaker, if this legislature is willing to publicly disclose all of our political appointees in every single department that we have placed them in, then I would be much more in favor of that section of the bill. And I think that's my biggest opposition to
Thank
this.
you. Any further discussion, members? Representative Bellotti.
Thank you. Please note my reservations.
Reservation, Representative Bellotti. Any further discussion, members?